Gulckstadt's Mayor, Walter Morrison, who is with us. And good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great.
It's good to have you. Thank you for coming in on a miserably cold morning, but a lot of things are red hot in Gulckstadt, man. It is amazing the growth going on there.
It really is. Maybe we can get a Buc-ee's for Gluckstadt.
Well, listen, after what's happened in the last several weeks and since the session began, I wouldn't be surprised. You never know. Things are riding a pretty good wave there, so and we are tremendously thankful for it. I'll say that.
Certainly.
One of the things I do want to talk about, when you guys first were incorporated as a new city and you looked at your tax base. My understanding, you got to kind of blown that out of the water, haven't you?
Well, we really exceeded our initial expectations. I will tell you that in the last 6 months, things have leveled off. I'm not sure exactly what that's attributable to, other than perhaps it's the national economy. But we have certainly exceeded our initial projections, and I hope things continue to do real well.
All right, now the meeting didn't hear a lot about what happened at the meeting there, but first of all, if you'll just kind of explain to the rest of the state what this project is.
Well, it's a sports complex that will, aim to have youth participants from all over the Southeast come to our area to compete against each other. The initial plan contains 3 domes that will house indoor sports of all types: football, baseball, basketball, soccer, lacrosse. One of the domes is an aquatic center type thing that will have an Olympic swimming pool in it. So pretty much any kind of sport that the youth participate in today, you'll be able to do it there.
Is there one like this? Is this some other parts of the country that you can kind of look at it and get an idea of what it's going to look like?
Yeah, the guys who came and made the presentation to us mentioned that they had built a similar complex, I think, in the Miami area, and I know that they have another one under construction now, I think in Texas, but the exact details of that, you probably ought to talk to them more than me.
Yeah. I'm sure you've done due diligence on here, but what are the taxpayers in Gluckstadt on the hook for? Anything?
No, we made it very clear from the beginning when these folks contacted me that Gluckstadt wasn't going to be able to be a financial contributor towards this project. We just are in such the early stages of the city's development that I don't think that would be a wise investment for us now. We've just got basic fundamental needs that we need to be taken care of, and I just don't think it would be a good idea. So we certainly hope that the project comes to fruition. These guys came and gave a great presentation at our meeting last Thursday, and I'm hopeful that it all happens.
Officials project that the Gluckstadt Megadome is expected to create upwards to $50 million in annual economic impact for the Madison County community in the central Mississippi area. This is something called 828 Sports Ventures, 50 years of professional experience between the chief executive officer and an NBA-certified player, D'Angelo Simmons, as well as Mississippi native and longtime private equity investment executive. So I'm in the chief investment officer, Larry Fortune. The other participant, chief operating officer, Brandon Williams, and director of sports tourism, Don Staley. Did they ask for any incentives or tax breaks at all or anything like that?
They have not. They have, even as late as our meeting Thursday, really just want the community's support. I think that they realized early on that the city was just not in a position to contribute financially towards this investment. They've not asked us for any types of incentives, but the project is a long way from being completed, a long way probably from even being started, so we'll see what happens going forward.
In your last meeting, when you met with them, did that cast a little bit of a doubt over the project, or more problems arise or anything like that?
No, I look cynically at things like this and have told them that from the very beginning. When you think about someone wanting to invest $50 to $100 million in Gluckstadt, Mississippi, my first question was, why.
That would be my question.
And, it falls into the category of perhaps being too good to be true. That's just the way I look at things like this. But they have been very encouraging throughout. They have been very confident.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they are very hopeful that this will all work out, and I'm encouraged that it will.
Well, when you look at it, not so much Gluckstadt, it's where the population is moving more and more north, as you well know. You look at Flora and places like that continue to grow, so I can understand that. And also when you start looking at the Jackson metro area, the last I saw was, and this is very conservative, around 600,000 people in the Jackson metro area. So it is rather bustling, and some of the incomes from some of the municipalities out there, are some of the best in the Mid-South area. So that's good news. The other part of this is when you start looking at the projects that are coming up and the Amazon situation, you got to project that the population will continue to grow in the central Mississippi area. So I can understand why to that point. Why on this particular acreage, the only thing that I could say is that it came at a good deal.
That's probably true, and I think important stakeholders in this whole project are our local landowners, Stuart and Katie Warren, and they have been very encouraging and I know very cooperative with these people. And Paul, one thing you, I think, ought to understand is certainly it's important for the population in the metro area, but I think that the real goal of this project is to attract sports participants from the entire Southeast. They're looking at markets to include kids who live in Atlanta, and Dallas and Memphis and New Orleans, who will all converge here to compete against each other. So certainly our local population is important to them, but I think geographically speaking, where we're located is just as important.
So I'm guessing they probably don't have any contracts with hotels or ancillary companies so far. It's all a project in works.
I know that they are talking to hotel people. They mentioned that at our meetings. As to the specifics, though, of their deal, I don't really have a lot of answers. We tend not to want to meddle in private business and what they want to do, and they've not asked us to get involved in those details with them, and I'm certainly not going to meddle. I'll offer whatever support I can and hope that it all happens.
Since, I don't have the same knowledge because I'm not there on the scene near Buc-ee's, but I do hear, and I know that area. Was that area kind of near a lake or low area? I mean, it seems to be some of the most unattractive area around as far as acreage is concerned, if it's the same that I'm thinking about.
You're exactly correct. And in fact, at our meeting on Thursday, I think it was Mr. Warren who indicated that they had been in talks with DEQ and had gotten some preliminary approvals from DEQ to be able to build on site. So I was very encouraged to hear that too.
Well, it's between, you tell me the location because you know it better than I, but it's between Highway 51 and I-55?
That's correct. It's at the intersection of Weisenberger and Highway 51.
Did they give you any dates at all, or when you saw the drawing, did they give you an idea how long it was going to take to complete?
No, and they were asked that specific question, and I think they have some pretty significant infrastructure hurdles to jump before we really get a good timeline.
I think your not skepticism, but your conservative approach to this is a good idea.
Well, I appreciate that. It's just being cautiously optimistic, and I think everybody needs to just take a deep breath. I hope it all works out, but let's just give it some time.
Don't overestimate it, and then we'll be pleasantly surprised at the end of it, hopefully. Got a couple of other things I want to ask you as far as Gluckstadt and the area is concerned, and maybe anything that you guys need to look at the 2024 legislative session as far as a municipality is concerned. When we return with Gluckstadt's mayor, Walter Morrison, the new mayor, here's the great thing about Walter Morrison. Here's the great thing about being a mayor for the first time. You are doing a lot better than the last mayor. Your numbers are
funny, Paul.
So that will change later, but No, seriously, the growing pains that you've experienced, and all of this is like a first-time deal, but when you're in a new city, there's so many things that other folks don't think about that happen.
Yeah, there are, and it's a daily education for me.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought that I would be in this position trying to solve the various problems that we have, but I will tell you, we have such great people who work with the city that do a fantastic job every day. You may have seen the story about our 2 Gluckstadt police officers over the weekend who saved a person's life. Apparently, she had overdosed on fentanyl or maybe some other drug, and they responded quickly and timely and administered Narcan and was able to save her life. So those are the types of things that just prove the great people that we have working with us.
What's the population?
You know, we missed the last census. My guess would be somewhere around 4,000.
4,000. The any annexation news as far as what you look at next?
Well, you may know that we are in an annexation battle now with the city of Madison. Mayor Hawkins and the city filed an annexation petition to annex all the way to our southern border. Mm-hmm. And we filed a counter petition to protect our southern border and to annex in a more southerly direction. So that's really, in terms of immediate growth, that's what's on the table.
How much land are we talking about in dispute there?
I don't recall the exact mileage or the exact acreage, but it's basically the land that lies between Madison's northern boundary and our southern boundary, towards the new Reunion Parkway.
Oh, I got you. Let me go back to the Megadome project. Just one other question, and you may not know this since you guys are not involved as far as the city is concerned. Was the sale was contingent on something, or is the sale a finality? It's done. These people own it.
Are you talking about the sale of the land?
Yeah, the land itself.
I do not know those details. We've not asked, and they've not told us of those details.
I got you. So and we don't know a timeline either, right?
That's right.
2024 legislative session, and as a municipality, are you guys part of the municipal league now?
We are.
And anything that you need from the legislature, or as you guys make your way into developing the city?
You know, certainly there is. You know, the Madison County Business League and Makita put together every year a list of priorities for Madison County. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that is so important to us as a city now is trying to get our hands around the traffic problems that we have. We commissioned a study, and we believe that widening Gluckstadt Road, adding additional lane to Gluckstadt Road, will help alleviate some of that traffic. So that is our legislative priority this year, is to try to get funding necessary to widen that road.
For people who don't know, we talk about traffic jams, and I've been here for quite a while, to where it was not a gravel road, but a poorly kept 2-lane road in the country. And now when school's in the morning, thank God I'm not on the road at that particular time, but I hear these horror tales that you could be backed up from for maybe a mile or 2 miles between the city and the interstate itself.
Look, the traffic every morning at around 7 a.m. is backed up from Lake Caroline or perhaps even further west.
Yes.
All the way down Bozeman Road to Highway 463. And the traffic.
How many miles is that?
I don't know, but it's a lot. And
yes.
Then headed eastbound to get on I-55 is bumper to bumper as well. So it's something
incredible.
that, you know, just 10 years ago we're talking about soybeans and cornfields, and now we're talking about major business area.
And what's even worse than that, that's why we start talking about the population in the metro area is growing. What's even worse than that is you've got some major house developments, residential developments that are you can hear the hammers out there as we speak. I mean, they're going crazy.
That's correct.
So the traffic's not going to get better; it's going to get worse.
That's right, and that's why we're a little bit behind the eight ball because things grew so fast before we even became a city. But we're going to do our best to alleviate that issue.
I know you're in a dispute with Mayor Mary, but you look at the template that she set many years ago and how it's turned out, and it's a storybook, a story that's happened there as far as how she set everything in motion. You don't have a downtown area, and Madison was kind of the same way, and that's one of the things it kind of leads to. But what's the future projections for that?
Well, our city planners have prepared what we call an overlay district in an effort to create a downtown area there just south of Germantown High School. It will take certain buy-in, of course, from developers and property owners going forward. I've seen schematic illustrations of it, and if it were to come to be, it would be a wonderful downtown area. And so, we were dealt a hand where a significant amount of development had already occurred before we were a city, and it was done sort of in a hodgepodge fashion, not to be critical, but it was done sort of in a hodgepodge fashion, and we're now going to try to create that downtown area that I think would be beneficial to the city.
Is there schematics or a blueprint of that somewhere people can see?
There is. I'm sure that if you got on our website, you would be able to see that or contact City Hall, and they'd be able to provide that to you.
Somebody mentioned once that Gulckstadt is German for strip mall, and I think, what do you think they meant by that?
There are a lot of naysayers, and it's easy to be a naysayer. We saw that with the announcement of this sports complex. We live in a time when it's easy to be cynical, and it's easy to sit on a computer somewhere and post anonymous comments being a naysayer. I tend to look more at the positive side, and we're going to do the best we can. I hope we're making life better for people who live there, and we're going to continue to work hard to try to do that.
One of the other things, too, is that, and I've heard other people say this, just trying to find employees for some of the businesses has not been easy.
Yeah, I would imagine that's true. I mean, there are help wanted signs in almost every business in Gluckstadt, and I'm sure in the entire area.
Before we let you go, sir, and I do thank you for coming in, anything else you would let the area and the state know about Gluckstadt and what else is going on?
Yeah, the only thing I'd like for people to really know and understand and truly appreciate is the great people that we have work there. I say repeatedly, the best and biggest asset that the city has is its people. And I see that every day. They don't come to work because they're getting wealthy doing what they do, but they love doing their job. And I'm so appreciative of that.
You manned out as far as the police department, or you need some other people?
I think that we are probably fully staffed, but we're always looking.
Mayor, thank you, sir. Appreciate it very, very much, and I thank you for coming in.